Had a guy from India. This wasn't a EB5 case. This was a marriage. Indian culture is very strong. Family, like the Asians, very, very strong family culture. He was a F1 in college, a graduate student. His parents wanted him to stay here when he graduated. And father and his uncle told him, look, we're going to find you a wife. He said, okay. They went out looking for a wife. They found a lady who said she would marry him for $15,000, and we don't have to live together, we don't have to do anything, but he'll get his green card. So they came and they told him, look, we found you a wife. And she said that rather than going through a ceremony, why don't we do a justice of the peace? Okay, he'll marry us, and that's faster. He said fine, because his uncle and his father said, yes, this is the way we're going to do it. They married through the justice of the peace. Then they had to come to immigration for their interview, okay? And I don't know if you've been through these interviews. They take off their coat, and you see their gun and their badge, and they get the camera and adjust it on you, and you're sitting there, and if there's two of you, they split you up, okay? The husband goes this way, wife goes that way. And they say, now, before we start, do you understand what perjury is and how long you can go to jail? And then they start the interview. And sometime during the interview, another officer will come in, and I'll, excuse me for a second, and they'll whisper something in my ear. It's nothing, but I'll say, okay, now I'm going to give you one more chance. Do you know what perjury is? And it's normally the ladies who break down first. They say, oh, this is but they didn't break down, okay? So the interview's over, sign the document. When you sign the document, it says all of this is true, okay? As soon as he signed it, they took him into custody. He's forever excluded from the United States for committing fraud. He can never come back. My first job on the deputy was to look at this case and make some assumptions about it. And I'm thinking, he's a victim. He's not the bad guy. The uncle and the dad are the two. We should take their green cards and send them home. This guy is just a student, a graduate student. Okay, now he can't even finish college here. There was no way for me to change. They had committed fraud. The question was this kid culpable? I couldn't change that. So he was ordered deported, and I talked to the port director in San Isidro, and I said, look, this kid's got to go out of the country to take care of the deportation. But look, let's have him go out, and as soon as he's out, the deportation is over, then bring him back in. We have a system called parole. When they parole you in immigration, they let you in without a visa, okay? So he went out, that took care of the deportation, came back in, they paroled him indefinitely so he could stay for as long as he wanted, finish college, but he can never leave the United States. He can't get married. If he gets married, he'll always be illegal unless there's a legalization program where he can apply because he doesn't have the deportation. And so I did that for him, and I met the kid, and I told him, look, I'm sorry that this happened to you, but I wish I could help you more, but I can't. This is as far as I can go legally. Immigration is tough. It's dealing with people. It's dealing with lives. And we need to find some way to be more flexible in how we execute the law. There's some people, look, right there, it says no, and that's it. There's no getting around it. When the last president decided to prosecute everybody that came in illegally, when you enter the United States illegally, that's a misdemeanor. That's like getting a speeding ticket. It's a $50 fine. But you can prosecute them as a felony, okay, as a crime. And if they do that, they cannot have their children with them. You cannot have felons and non-felons together. So when they decided to prosecute everybody, they take all these kids and put them in some camp or some detention facility. And they tried these people and they started deporting them. We've got 6,000 children here with no parents. We deported their parents. We don't have a clue where they are. And it just seems to be okay for some people. But that bothers me that we as a nation adopt that sort of position and say, well, they entered illegally, you know, they broke the law. Well, we have, I think in California, they have something like 16 million people who haven't paid traffic fines. Okay? And when you don't show up for court, they issue a bench warrant. And if you're ever stopped by the police, they're going to run it and they're going to take you into custody. But all they're going to do is make you pay the fine. For these people, we put them in jail. Okay? And it's so uneven, so unequal. And the crime is a civil offense. It's not a criminal offense. But if we could find some happy ground in between where officers are more compassionate, but it's not going to happen as long as we talk about the problem on the border, as long as we talk about bad immigrant. One of the presidential candidates was saying immigrants are arming. They're building an army here to take over. They're using weapons that the army hasn't even seen yet. What kind of crazy talk is this? Now, I say that because I believe it's crazy talk, but a lot of people believe it. And that's the problem. And they're in parts of America where their representative has got to carry their belief system forward. And when they ask for a vote, if he votes yes for immigration reform, they're going to vote him out of office. And I mean, that's the system we have. So it starts with telling the truth from the start.